All right, Snoopy.
He don't want it on.
All right, Snoopy. So next, I wanted to say this, man. I want to ask you this. Now, I recently saw a clip on, I want to say it was like LA Hood vlogs or something like that. And they put out a clip and it was of the rapper Blxst. And Blxst recently spoke about working with Kendrick Lamar, Big Sad 1900, and potentially Drake. And in the clip, he kind of talks about the breakdown of working on the GNX album and how people's royalties and Kendrick, and the deal that Kendrick had with everybody. And to me, it sounded like he heard our interview clip and was responding to that because he just did this. It was only like a couple of days ago. And I think his interview was actually with Back on Fig. And he was talking about basically the way that rappers publishing breaks down and them taking the money and the whole GNX situation about the album being kind of cursed or whatnot. It sounded like he was responding to what you had said, but not actually. And to be honest, you know what? I'd like you, do you want to check out the clip so I can get your full opinion on it?
Yeah, let me hear it.
Because I know you like to be 100% on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let me hear it. Man, people, man, look, homie. These dudes would do everything but admit when they wrong, bro. We don't want to hear that, bro. We don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying, nigga? At the end of the day, he gave y'all guys $10,000 between that or y'all had to pick royalties, bro. Y'all got work, bro. I don't want to hear that, bro. Dead homies. You know what I'm saying? But that's what these dudes do. When the truth come out, they come try to spin it. Well, we did the industry, but they really don't know the industry. You clearly don't know the industry, nigga. Because you in the industry don't mean you know it. You could be somebody sitting in the industry that's been getting effed for the last 10 years, brother. Do you have $1 million? Brother? Have you went platinum, brother? I'm just saying though, like, I ain't trying to hear that. That's just somebody trying to spin what we doing. That's what they do to all our interviews. They take them and try to spin them and never makes no sense when they try to spin it. Feel me? Kendrick worked them dudes, bro. End the story, the end, bro. The album cursed, bro. Ain't nobody from that album bubble. Kendrick ain't bought nobody over there from West Side Paru a house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't see him ever doing that.
Hitta J3 had to scam Aiden Ross for $10,000. Ain't gonna try to spin it and say, well, Kendrick could have did it, but you gonna do it. And then, shut up. Kendrick ain't gonna give you $10,000 nothing. Dead homies, show us a cash app from Kendrick, Hitta. That days before this interview drop. Show us a $5,000 or $10,000 cash app from Kendrick Lamar to you. I bet you can't produce it. Out of here, bro. Sorry about the F word. For real though, bro. For real though, bro. I dare anybody from Westside Paru to show us a Cash App, a Zelle for $50,000 to $100,000 from Kendrick Lamar. He ain't did nothing for none of you dudes. You dudes are just females. Y'all D-riders. The clout and the stars and glamour is enough, just like a female. Run to anything that shines and glow, huh? Ain't gotta give you nothing. As long as it shine and it glow, you there, huh? Long as you get some attention, you there, huh? Kendrick don't own nothing in Compton. He supposed to have all this money, supposed to be rich, supposed to be a millionaire, supposed to be the savior of the West Coast. But he ain't did nothing Nipsey did. What? Go present some bullcrap to Centennial High? We don't care about that. That's about to be Mexico in 15 years. That ain't gonna do nothing for the black community. I think it's more Hispanics that go to his Centennial High. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. But what is that gonna do? At least Nipsey, he worked with the community. He put a shop on. He got killed doing it, but he was practicing what he preached. Kendrick, he ain't preaching nothing, but everybody preaching for Kendrick, and Kendrick ain't said or did nothing. Everybody want to jump up there. Kendrick led the culture. Kendrick is for us. Kendrick ain't said nothing. Y'all so much as D-Riders, y'all just putting words in this man's mouth. He just like, well, okay, if they saying I am, then no will. Just like the Pyru stamp. Kendrick was never a Pyru. And when he was a Pyru, he wasn't from Westside Pyru. Kendrick grew up when Kendrick was banging Pyru, he banged NH Bompton neighborhood Pyru. Now argue with me in the comments about this. Kendrick never banged Westside Pyru. Kendrick banged neighborhood Pyru. NHP. Bompton neighborhood Pyru. I know they're gonna say, oh, Snoopy crazy, but the real ones know. They didn't give Kendrick Lamar a Westside Pyru stamp till after he blew up.
I thought his best friend was from Westside Pyru.
Bro, you talk about L. That was his best friend, but he wasn't from Westside Pyru. Do you know how, well, you ain't from Compton. The NHPs and the Westside Pyru hood is right there next door to each other. Kendrick didn't live in the West. He lived in the NHPs. Kendrick claimed the neighborhood Pyru. His best friend L was from Westside Pyru, but how do we even know that was even his best friend? How do we know that? Do they got pictures? Have we seen pictures as kids of them together? Because you have to understand, and I'm not saying this happened, shout out L, because I don't have no problem with L. But you gotta understand, bro, these dudes, these LA dudes, these rappers, the indie, they will go in the cut and craft a narrative for a career or whatever. Like let me tell y'all something that I ain't never told nobody on the internet about me in the Hollywoods before we fell out. A dude named Tone from Hollywood tried to extort me, right? But before he tried to extort me, he said, you know what, dude? We're gonna lie. He said, nigga, look, let me be your manager. Look, I'm keeping, let me be your manager.
No, that's wild.
And we gonna lie and say that you've been coming over here since you was a kid. My mama gonna back it and all that. I said, nah, that's corny. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
No, hear me out. I said, I'm corny. I want to do that. So he came with other ways to try and extort me. I denied him. Once I said no, that's when the play came to turn all the hood against me. Okay, we're going to say this and we're going to say this. We're about to script it. All because I wouldn't be extorted. Now, if I was able to be extorted, none of the hate that y'all see about Snoopy Badazz will be on the internet. The narrative will be, I grew up over there. And this is something that they don't know on the internet. The only reason I got that stamp took from me is because I wouldn't be extorted. Because I wasn't a fake. Now, because I'm a gangster for real, and gangsters don't get extorted, that's why I'm in the situation I'm in now. So I say all that to say this. You can't come to me and tell me, well, Wooty Whoop said he's solid. You can't do that with me, bro. Because I already know how the game play. They will lie, but they will, if you paid and you put in the hood or somebody in a good position, they would lie for you and say whatever that's need to be said for you to succeed in rap.
Okay, now that's always been believed, you know, as a thing going on in the background.
Every rapper, and I want to say this to the world, every gang banging rapper you see, from the Serranos to the Crips and to the Bloods, is not thinking for themselves, bro. For them to rep that brand and rep that stamp, they gotta do what other mothers tell them to do. And they gotta be receptive to whatever is said. If they can't do that, that's when you're gonna see on the internet them getting marked. They not real. Look at Swifty Blue. Ain't no paperwork on Swifty Blue. But because Swifty Blue's a Serrano from Paramount, ain't no paperwork on Swifty Blue. He just didn't want to. So, because he didn't want to pay, because he didn't want to give them anything, Now he's all bad. He's a buster. He's scary. They call Swiftly Blue a snitch just because 10 Mexican mafia members got caught on a wiretap talking about killing Swiftly Blue. Swiftly Blue ain't said nothing. Y'all got caught on the wiretap. And y'all say he's all bad. Swiftly Blue's not all bad. What'd he do? Didn't want to pay some old niggas with big mustaches? And now he's all bad? I'm just saying. So what I'm saying is, the dudes y'all say is the real ones are really the busters and the marks and the scary and everything that y'all say about people like me, like Swiftly Blue, the dudes y'all praising and listen to is really them stamps. They're really that. Because the ones that can stand on their own, this is what happens. You basically got to be a follower and can't think for yourself to be a part of all that. The moment you not a follower and you think for yourself, you the buster, you the mark, and you not real, you not accepted, you're not validated, you ain't even a real homie like that. That's all that shit is. Like I said before in our last interview, the fake outnumbers the real. So if we know beyond a reasonable doubt that the fake outnumbered the real, and you see a crowd of dudes teaming up on a small crowd, you know what that is. That's all the fake going against the real. But these weak people, they would think because there's more numbers on this side, they're more the real ones, and that one by itself is the fake one. No. The real don't outnumber the fake. The fake outnumber the real. Wherever the numbers is up at, that's where the fakeness is at, and you better believe it. Sorry for the F word again.